Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over some soul farm teams that newer players will be able to use. I ended up doing a video on how to farm over 9,000 souls per hour last week, and the most requested thing probably on that video was to make a version for it that could be used earlier on in the game, because one big problem with the video I showed, I'll link it in the top right here if you want to see it if you haven't already, but the main problem with it is you needed your warlock to be around like 18 or higher damage, and to do that you needed a very high ascended warlock, at least still legendary, and you needed at least 4 magic kingdoms: Karkaroth, Zolkari, Blighted Lands, and Darkstone, all at level 10. And a lot of newer players don't have that, so I'm going to be showing some builds that you'll be able to use that are a lot easier to build. They only use troops of ultra rare or lower rarity, so fairly easy to obtain. I will be assuming traits on all of them, but they still work without traits. But let me go give out the redeem code real quick for today. GRTKKUW Q4E, and that gives the normal reward for the first 250 people of 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, and 2,500 gold. Also, for any console players out here, these teams currently do not work for you. For all of these teams use new mechanics, or at least new synergies that came out in version 2.15 of the game. So these are PC mobile only teams as of currently. They still work to win on consoles, but not all of them soul farm, because for example, Warlock ended up getting the Necromancy trait, Acolyte ended up getting the Necromancy trait, and Sacrificial Priest all end up getting the Necromancy trait in the most recent patch, which consoles currently don't have, which makes this whole team work. This is actually the original team for the farming over 9,000 souls per hour. Of course, you would want to use this team in the first challenge, or the easiest place that you can possibly go, which is the first challenge in Divinian Fields, if you were to want to do that, this one right here. But it also works in standard PvP for any of you that also want to be gaining a lot of gold instead of just souls, because of course souls don't do anything, or don't do everything. So you do kind of need other resources as well. So we're going to be trying this team. It does work out. Keep in mind with all 3 of these teams I'm showing, they do work a lot better in earlier on in the game than what you might be seeing me doing now. Of course, they'll still likely win this late in the game, but they're not optimal for this late in the game. These are builds that you can basically do from level 10 until about level 200-ish, I would say, is about the cutoff for these teams. Of course, we're doing this at over level 1000, but hopefully we should still be able to get the general premise of every single one of these teams. With this one, what's really good about this team is we have +1 on blue from Valkyrie and +1 on brown from the first trait on our Acolyte. So regardless, you'll always be able to get up your Warlock within 2 turns, which is really good. With this, we're actually going to be focusing down this bomb bot. He's going to just kill itself out. I want to reduce its damage just to make sure it does a lot less when it actually explodes. Right here, I'm actually going to go and transform out the brown. Even though we have something that great brown, I'm not really too worried about keeping that like that. The main reason we're actually using a Acolyte in this team, it doesn't really work like great, but the main reason for this is the bonuses. It's always really good to have bonuses on your team the earlier you are in the game. And one really important bonus that this has is it actually gains 2 magic. 1 from having 3 unique Mystic, and 1 for having 3 unique Karkaroth. Plus we're getting some additional ones, like some HP, some armor, and another HP, 3 HP, 1 armor, 2 magic. The 2 magic is what's really important though, because that 2 magic is going to be raising up our damage on our Warlock, and that also means 2 more souls per Valkyrie cast, which will even, since you're at a lower level and you don't have like some kind of huge number here, like 18, your Valkyrie's probably at something like 6, 7, 8, maybe even lower than that, maybe slightly higher, but you'll be getting 2 extra magic with this team, which in return means 2 extra souls every single time you cast Valkyrie, which means you'll be able to get it up quicker than if you were to use, say, anything else. So we'll just keep taking from the board. Valkyrie, we're actually deliberately trying to take away pretty much everything from the board that isn't red or yellow. We really want to make sure we can get that, get our Valkyrie up as much as possible. I'm going to do another tap at the bomb bot here, just to make sure when it explodes, it doesn't actually do a extreme amount of damage to us. Sacrificial Priest is another one that doesn't do too much in this team. We're kind of using for the Necromancy and 40 bonus. One thing that you can do though is once your Valkyrie has the max amount of souls, you can just sacrifice her and then go from there. But unless you still want her for the mana, in which case don't do that. So we'll do this. Let's see. Okay, Valkyrie's already back up again, as you can see. Goes very, very quick in that regard. Just keep getting her up and up by just taking away everything that you're not using. This takes away purple, which we're not using, and we can just keep using the Valkyrie to take away everything else that we aren't using at the moment. So let's see. We could get a Valkyrie cast. I'm actually going to not do that. We could do Valkyrie there and then still get some mana, but we already reached the max, and we wouldn't actually feed anything mana by doing that. So we'll just take these skulls. That's almost going to take out the Karnax. It is going to explode right here, but that should still be one hit range with our Warlock. So yep, that's definitely going to be a one-shot. We could even take it with skulls. Oh, never mind, it just went away. So we'll do this. That'll kill it out. Bombot will kill itself, so we don't even need to worry about that. The only thing that could really make us lose at this point is Black Manacles, which has a 20% chance to devour, just devour whenever it casts. So that could get in the way. If it devours, it's going to be a little bit harder to kill him. It's not going to be a lose in this instance, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder than it needs to be. So let's see. I'm actually not going to take those skulls. Yeah, I won't. We actually use the Valkyrie kind of as a mini tank here. As long as you don't have a skull spam team, that'll kind of work. What you basically do is you just get Valkyrie get pretty much one shot away from death. And then right before she actually dies, you just sacrifice her with the Sacrificial Priest. And ideally, the 30% chance on Sacrificial Priest will trigger a Abrath to summon there, which you can then re-sacrifice if you wanted to with its extremely high attack. So right here, let's just waste a Valkyrie. Let's get these yellows out of the way. I will take these reds. That'll clear up the board some. Hopefully, yep, there we go. We got that mana. No skulls, so let's just take... Actually, we'll leave that there. We'll get our blue back from doing this. As you can see, we'll take away some of the purple and then get some of our blue right back that we needed. Unfortunately, a big blue pair. Luckily, he does not actually use blue. And, ooh. That's actually going to die to flames. That's a little bit unfortunate. We're not going to be able to sacrifice it. Luckily, we already reached the max. It's going to die to flames right now. Yep. So that is somewhat unfortunate. But we'll just keep going. Let's see. We'll just take some skulls off the top here. One shot away from death. Black Manacles, you better not devour. Good. Okay. Sacrificial Priest is kind of useless at this point. The main reason being that we don't really have anything to sacrifice. The main reason for that is if we sacrifice anything on this team, we're actually getting rid of their Necromancy. The Necromancy still works at the beginning of the match. Or this is how Necromancy basically works now. Of course, it raises the cap at the end, or it does both the end and during the match. Like, as you can see, this is 100 souls. Normally, it's only 40, but every single one of these Necromancies is raising it by 50%, which is 20 extra souls. And since we have 3 Necromancy, that is a total of 160 extra from them. What also happens at the end of the match is it increased by these 50% as well. But if we sacrifice one of these, that won't be increased by an additional 50%. It'll just be the cap increase. So we do want to make sure we actually keep all 3 of these alive if we can help to do so. So we're going to be needing to do that. As far as casting anything, the only thing we can really do is Warlock and Skulls. We can occasionally do the Alkalite, though that is very risky given that he is a heavy brown user. And if he gets a Black Manacles, gets that Devour off, we're going to be in big trouble. So I'm going to try not using that for as long as possible. Once he actually gets all of his mana up, I'll probably cast it, since it doesn't matter if it misses or not, since it can't actually give him any mana at that point. And all we need now is any cast and it is over. He did just get Black Manacles, so I am going to do that. We're going to cast this, hopefully get an extra turn ideally. And yes, we do, and that will be the kill right before he can use Black Manacles, right before he can do anything else. So that'll kill him out, and there we go. We get the max capacity of souls, plus we get the full Necromancies, all 3 of them, for a total of, I don't even know how many souls I get. I think it's like 325 or something very high. Let's see. Yeah, 275 souls. So that is quite a bit of souls. And we still were able to get a PvP battle from that, so we still get a bunch of gold and everything like that. Hey, we even get a minor red trade stone, which I actually need. Need those more than any other minor trade stone, because minor red is actually the most used in the entire game right now. Okay, we're up against a very annoying skull spam team right now. Probably one of the more annoying teams in this entire game. We're doing it with an all-undead team. This worked for soul farming mainly because white now gained souls as of 2.15 of Gems of War. So it also has the Fire Spirit, which even increases that even further. With this particular team, it's only 1 extra magic, but still, that's 1 extra true damage that he does, 1 extra HP every time he casts, and 1 extra soul every time he casts. So it does quite a bit. We do it in this order mainly because with the Vampire Lord, Astral Spirit in the back, they'll be able to control the board very well, since Vampire Lord removes red, which neither of them use, and Astral Spirit can remove whatever it wants, so it can remove green, which this team doesn't even use. We set the banner to +2 blue, +1 yellow, and -1 green. Since we don't use green, it's full undead, so we're actually getting a pretty big bonus on top of that as well. We're getting 5 armor, 1 life, and again, magic. Magic is very important on anything that gets souls, or really anything like this. Anything that has a lot that scales off of magic tends to be really good with magic, obviously. And this entire team actually does true damage. Astral Spirit, Vampire Lord, White, and Wrath all have the ability to do true damage, which is kind of the whole premise of this team. So let's get into this. Ideally, we do want to take out that Bone Dragon first. This is actually one of the most used builds, or at least Bone Dragon with some kind of combination of what we're facing right now is one of the most popular builds in the late game right now. Luckily, you don't really need to see this that often earlier on in the game, fortunately. And even if you do, it's not as effective, because the only reason this is very effective late game is because of the 3-to-1 ratio on the amount of skulls it creates based on the armor that it tears. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem this match, and pretty much always, just because of how high of an armor you start to get as the game progresses. But as you can see with the fully traded ref, or even just with the second trade on it, we do place a death touch. If you have it fully traded, you even place it a freeze. It's the only troop currently in the game that can actually do 2 status effects off their skull damage, and is actually pretty powerful. So right here, I'm going to remove these greens. We don't actually use it. We're going to get an extra turn right there, too, off the blue. And blue is very, very important with this team. Too bad a Valkyrie cannot fit. If Valkyrie was undead, we could probably fit her pretty well into this team. Unfortunately, she is not. But luckily, we are getting blues just from the fact that we have a +2 blue banner. So that's helping us a lot, and just being able to poke out all of the mana that we need. We'll take the skulls, or... wow. I can't even talk. Orion, already dead. Or Ryan, I mean. Already dead before I can even say anything about him dying so quickly. And it wasn't a death mark either, just from all the spamming. So right here, I am going to start poking at the Bone Dragon. We definitely want to make sure that thing dies. That is a very, very dangerous, very, very dangerous, as you're about to see. It's about to kill our Wrath. It might even kill our White as well. We'll see. He will get 2 more skull damage. Let's see. Yep, he's definitely going to kill out our Wrath, unfortunately. Wrath is actually a really, really good first slot, simply because of all the status effects he can place. Very good ones, too. So, right here, I think I have to give him some skulls. We could remove the yellow, but I really need the yellow. I'll remove the yellow. Get the true damage out. Oh, we also get some skulls from it, which is really good. We also get some red, so we got our White back up. So that'll be very helpful. I need to make sure that Bone Dragon dies. He's the only thing that can really make him win. Once the Bone Dragon dies, we're pretty much good to go in this battle. I might even just leave those skulls there just so he wastes a turn. Well, not really waste a turn. He actually benefits a lot from taking skulls, but at least that's a turn that he's not really doing anything else. Let's see. Just trying to see if I can get anything else out of this. Maybe, let's see... no, that one skull will go down, so that won't work. So we will just use... Okay, I will skull. The main reason for this is I want to kill this thing out before it gets full mana. And we're going to be able to do that by taking this skull and now hitting him with anything. So he's going to take red or something, or just do that. I'm actually going to wait before we do anything more to him. Let's see. Yeah, I will do this on the Bone Dragon. That will deny his red to make sure he is a little bit more delayed on having to take that as well. So let's see. Okay, so now he finally has it up, and we'll definitely want to stop that in some way, shape, or form. So we'll just do that. And let's see. Green removal would be okay, but not really needed at the moment. I almost want to remove the brown just so he doesn't take it. But first, let's just go with this. Kill it out with the white. Get some of our mana back, which will go right into our Vampire Lord. Almost get him right back up. He'll take some skulls. I'm actually going to take out the brown here. We'll get some blue mana, which we need, and it will help to make sure he doesn't actually get his Bone Dragon up, since that's one of the main 2 colors he uses. He also uses purple, which we'll be able to take to get up our white some. We could take skulls here to make sure he doesn't take any skulls. I think I'm actually going to bait out one of the skulls, though. So we'll do this. We'll take the other skull, and that will give us a turn to take some purple and other mana that will then be able to target on the Bone Dragon, getting it closer and closer to death. Let's see. Okay, so we will do this. Hit that again. 1 more shot, and it will be down. Unfortunately, we do not have white up. It is 1 mana short, and there's no mana currently on the board for it, unfortunately. There's no reds, we just denied them all, and no blues seem to be going in our favor at the moment. There we go. We can remove yellow, and that should be good to go then. So we'll do that. He'll take those skulls, maybe. I don't know where it's going to cascade to. Wasn't paying attention. There we go. We take the skulls. Perfect. So as long as he doesn't skull us right here, which he is. Oh, that's very unfortunate. Oh, we could actually lose this. He's going to take those skulls. Okay, this is very close. Let's see. Ideally, we'd want to take Astral Spirit, man. I don't think we can, though. So I might just have to deal with taking purples or something. Okay, the only way we won't lose a troop right here is if he targets our Vampire Lord. If he targets our Astral Spirit, he's going to get a lot out of it. And no skulls. Okay, please hit the... Please, Vampire Lord. Good, he hit the Vampire Lord. He's just going to take... Oh, wow, he actually killed out the Vampire Lord without an extra turn. So that was pretty big. Now it's kind of just a race to who can get mana first. I will need 2 shots before he gets 1, which is going to be very difficult to do, especially since I can't get mana right now. Luckily, we already have some mana up. He'll take those skulls, but he's also taking mana, which is very unfortunate. Plus, he has the banner set correctly. So one more purple surge or a brown surge, and he is pretty much good to go. So we'll take that. Astral Spear will be able to deny some of his mana. Oh, nope, he already has so much attack that he ends up winning. But yeah, that does end up happening sometimes. But as you can see, even if you do lose, you do get to keep all of the souls that you farmed, which is also good. This team earlier on in the game does work a lot better. This team, anything with a Bone Dragon later on in the game is just so ridiculous right now. There are counters coming into the game soon that'll be for it. But it's just really difficult later on in the game. As far as anything you'll be facing earlier on in the game, like all night teams and stuff like that, this team works really well since it bypasses all of their armor and you don't really have to worry about anything like that. So definitely try it out. It's a lot better than probably what you just saw happen there. But we'll go over to this one. This is actually a variant. This last team here is a variant of one of the teams I used to suggest a lot to newer players, which was Treant, Alchemist, Valkyrie, and Banshee. Still a very solid team, what I just said there, for console as well, to switch out the Goblin Rocket for a Valkyrie. But we can actually switch out the Goblin or the Valkyrie this time for a Goblin Rocket now. The main reason being is Banshee in 2.15 actually got the ability to get souls, and not just any amount of souls. If you have 3 or more yellow troops on your team, you are actually getting more souls with a Banshee than any other troop in the entire game currently. Banshee has the highest if you have her fully traded. If you only have 2 yellows, it's tied at the highest with, I believe, Avina, which you also get from completing the Golvania quest line. She ends up getting a soul gain as well in 2.15. So we're going to use this team. It works really, really well, particularly with a Goblin Rocket. Now that we don't have a Valkyrie, we play this team a little bit differently, where we actually have a little bit more board control. Normally, if you play it with a Valkyrie, you're switching the blues and reds back and forth, kind of, to keep getting your max amount of red boost ratio that you possibly can on that 2-to-1 with Banshee. But now we play a little bit more board control. Now that we could just use the Goblin Rocket pretty much whenever we want, just to keep poking at him. I'm actually going to go for mana first. Mana is a lot more important than just taking a pair of skulls, especially since something like Stone Skin. Of course, we have Stone Skin as well. If you happen to have it fully traded, that'll help negate 50% of skull damage, which helps out a lot. Night Coronet, Treant, and Lava Elemental, all very popular choices for that earlier on in the game. But now we'll be able to do quite a bit off the board as far as what we can do with the Goblin Rocket, aligning things that we need and pretty much just taking anything that we want. I could have taken that with a brown move, and I actually probably should have there, mainly because I didn't pay attention, and now there is no follow-up that we have for our Alchemist. So let's see, still nothing. I could do it on purple, that won't really do much. I could do it on red, but we need our reds. We need those a lot, actually. So since our Alchemist is full, I'm just going to take some reds here. We do have 2 Fire Links with this team, which is really going to help a lot in being able to get up our Goblin Rocket. And ideally, right here, perfect. We'll be able to take the yellows finally. That'll fill up both of them. And with the Banshee, we can fill them right back up. What I'm actually going to do here is just completely waste this ability. Doesn't really matter where it is. You see all these blues and reds aligned there. I'm just going to use that, get a nice shot out, take out the Paladin, so we don't have to worry, that one less thing to have to worry about. And there we go, we get our mana right back up. We have pretty much everything up. We'll just take that, get that out of the way, use this on brown, start getting our casts back up. That'll get both of them up, and you kind of just keep looping that back and forth, over and over and over again is essentially the premise of this team. And just keep taking mana when you can, or if you need it. Normally, you just throw away the Goblin Rocket, or you use it to try to align blues and reds, so you can actually get out a nice Banshee cast. So we'll do this right here. Hopefully get alignment somewheres. Okay, we do not get an extra turn out of it, but we can get a lot of mana. I'll use the Alchemist first, just so we can clear out the board. Hopefully get it in a way that we can get an extra turn off the Banshee. Just trying to get anything that we can do to try to do that would be ideal. So let's see, we can do that right here. I'll explode right there. That'll bring this down so we can get an extra turn off of the Banshee right there, as you can see. And you pretty much just keep looping this over and over again until you win. You'll definitely get the max souls very easily. 2 to 3 Banshee casts at pretty much any level. Maybe 4 if you're like an extremely low level will end up getting it. But as soon as you get her traded, you'll be getting 2 extra magic on her, which of course is from having 2 yellows, which is the Goblin Rocket and the Banshee. So very, very effective. And you can essentially never stop this team. It's kind of like the Goblin team I ended up showing yesterday, where you can kind of just go on forever. It is kind of like that. It's a little bit harder to maintain, but it still has the capability of looping on forever. The main thing that makes it slightly hard is you don't have as many alignment options with the Banshee, since you can only ever convert it from blue to red. So if that's messed up in any way, you won't be able to do it. But we'll try getting that again. Let's see. It's a lot of using the Goblin Rocket to lower things to where you can get extra turns out of them. You do that like a lot with this team. So we'll do this. I don't think that actually aligned anything though. Nope. Oh, only if there was a drop there that would have. So we are actually going to go for our first treant here. As you can see, there's a brown right there, so we'll get a free skull from doing this. Plus, we get an armor and attack buff, which will just hit it down. We even get Goblin Rocket back up, and that is the match already. He'll take that. He'll take a pair of skulls. We can kill him with either one of the 2, and that is the match. We can even take skulls. Let's just do it with Banshee, though. Doesn't matter. We already reached the max capacity of souls, though. But there we go. We even get the extra turn. Could have kept looping even more if we wanted to. But yeah, those are 3 very solid teams that you can use early on in the game. All 3 of them work very well. I would say up to about level 200. You could try using them a little bit further than 200. Like this team in particular, you could probably get away with using it up to level 500. You could see I even just completely wiped out that team effortlessly at over level 1000. So it is a pretty solid team that you can keep using. Very cheap too. Every single team I showed in this video, it only uses base rarity of ultra rare or lower, which are cheaper to trait, cheaper to level up, and cheaper and just easier to obtain from keys. But anyways, that'll wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.